休息了这么久，可能大家都忘了我们常规赛的实力，但是没关系，我们很快会再让你们见识到。
如果能在季后赛打败他们，我也相当于证明了我自己了。
2000次击杀不会是终点，就像我们这赛季的征程也不会就这样结束。
2000杀，丢在的脚步没有停。
生涯2000杀，在 LPL 也是排名第1的。
哇，小狗收割停不住，顺便还能破个记录。
我既然选择了中路，就要有 carry 的角色，我会扛着队伍前进。
我之前说过了，季后赛的 RW 不会让大家失望。我们打 EDG 的时候，我给大家看 Super Carry 抖音币。
那个男人说要安排一下 LPL 的野区，但是我回来了，这谁安排谁还说不定呢。
上个赛季我们扮演的是挑战者的角色，但是如今的 IG 已经今非昔比了，请拭目以待。
我只知道拿到过5次 LPL 冠军的只有一个可人了，这就够了。
6 paths, they're calling me Madara. Your guys will hide in the mist. My brothers put iron in fists like Kazuya. Man call me an amateur. I put numbers in squares like dates on a calendar. Had everyone dressed in black like I came here trying to unlock a new character. Had everyone dressed in black with a bottle in hand like Lane Wulong. Walk in a party, see a Barbie looking nice, I just give her a smile and a wink. Could have been dead, I could have been rich, I could have been locked in a cage.
Fourteen teams started off this year in January to compete in the Spring Split, but now we are down to the final 4, the final countdown. And while the games will be happening live in Hangzhou, we're coming at you from our studio here in Shanghai to make sure that we don't miss any of the action, because these are the best teams in China, potentially some of the best teams in the world. You can see RNG, Royal Never Give Up, Uzi, the uncrowned king, going to try and take charge and lead his team to victory and finally claim that crown that has eluded him for so long. And of course, their opponents, one of the most dominant teams in. That said, that's still only the mid lane. We have to turn our attention towards that bottom lane. Uzi, you can see he's going to be playing against Jackie Love later, but with him starting today, it's Zatai, MLXG, Xiaohu, and Ming.
And of course, the big story is that it's Zatai and MLXG. Karsa played 99% of the regular split, but since playoffs, MLXG has been the guy to show up, and he is playing in form.
And it feels like they're looking towards a wounded Invictus Gaming with a strong top side. That's what's valuable to me, because Zatai can play any carry, and he has that attitude about him. You can look at the swagger that he comes out with. So right in the draft, right in the pick and ban, I wonder if he gets priority or counter pick.
Biggest difference between Zatai and Letme in terms of statistics is their kill participation. Letme has one of the highest of any top laners in the league at around 60%. Zatai is sitting around 50%. So if you're looking at a difference in play style and how this formulates the matchup, he's much more about the 1v1 lane, not necessarily dominating you in lane, but some different counter pick matchups known for the Swain pick.
And it seems to be that's why we could be seeing MLXG come in, giving him a little bit more time to shine with his own playoff.
MLXG does gank top a lot more than Karsa does.
He absolutely does, but their opponents, Invictus Gaming, the most dominant team of 2018 Spring, the second most dominant team in LPL history, Duke, Ning, Rookie, Jackie Love, and Bao Lan.
You mentioned it, most dominant, and a lot of it comes down to the early game for them. They are able to hit you very fast. Fastest when it comes towards LPL, dominance about it. Duke is going to be the biggest question. I wonder if he goes back to his Fiora picks.
And for me, the X factor is really Ning. We know what to expect from Rookie and Jackie Love, but Ning is the guy that can swing this matchup and the hinge that it sits on. MLXG, are we going to get MLXD or MLX Jesus? And Ning can completely sway that one-sided.
How long you been sitting on that one?
It's a Rusty special.
Oh, yeah, we'll call it that one. But as you can see, Invictus Gaming making their way on stage in front of the fans in a packed Hangzhou arena. They are the heavy favorites coming into this matchup, but RNG are hot on their heels.
And just to pick up on the Ning discussion, because Ning is great in terms of buffing up his laners. Of course, they got strong laning picks for themselves, strong counter picks for him, and he's able to protect them so heavily. I wonder if MLXG can impact that, be in his face, get in the counter jungling mindset, and be able to put him off, I would say.
And so often we talk about dominance here on the desk. Let's just take a look at some of those numbers there. Yeah, first place win rate, KDA, jungle percentage, damage per minute, gold differential at the end of the game. RNG right behind them. They're KDA, second place, fourth in win rate, jungle, and DPM.
Which just means that the feeling for this matchup is that even though this is theoretically the weakest that you'll ever see Invictus Gaming and possibly one of their most important best of fives, you're still not sure if they're going to lose. Like, you're still just kind of leaning like, I think IG can still win this one, guys.
Yeah, the last few weeks kind of did it for me, though. When they went up against RW specifically and just started to experiment, play towards a scaling process, even had the Ornn in the top lane. It was a Shy playing Ornn, but it was still a tank top lane that didn't have any extra pressure going up there. They smashed Rogue Warrior.
And it's the identity of these top laners into the bottom lane, which is where I think that this match should be decided. This should be JackeyLove versus Uzi, the Crownless King versus the Kingslayer, or the opportunity to be a Kingslayer today in JackeyLove.
We see it in every opening video, you know, JackeyLove, it's time for the new generation. iBoy coming in, Abel even behind Uzi, and Uzi still stands at the end of the hallway. You want the crown? Take it from me. Then again, he hasn't really earned it himself just yet.
Hey, well, he's second place,
he's
not
quite
third.
there yet. Yeah.
I'm about to fight you.
Yeah, right.
But the biggest thing for me when it comes to Uzi is the fact that he's able to command so much attention from his team, which is something that JackeyLove has taken a step back in doing so. But because he's able to take a step back and absorb a lot of pressure, what his mindset is, or at least what makes Invictus Gaming so special around their bottom lane, is the damage he can still output in the game, even without that resource.
My two favorite stats, and they're back-to-back on this graphic here. Look at his damage percentage. JackeyLove is 30.2%, 12th in damage percentage, but he is first in DPM, and that just goes to showcase how dominant Invictus Gaming are. They don't need to rely on their ADC to carry the brunt of the damage percentage or the share of damage the team is doing, but that doesn't mean that he's not doing damage.
A holistic, powerful setup from Invictus Gaming to try and close this out. Of course, their opponents, though, in RNG chasing that crown. I got to know what you guys think. I have to know who's going to take the series. Raz, we'll start with you.
All right.
Is it going to be the wounded Invictus Gaming advancing, or will RNG move up back to final?
He starts every prediction with the word uh-oh.
Yeah, because people are going to have to hear this explanation. Now, here's the thing. Cast your mind back to RNG versus WE, LPL Spring. Guess what? It was a 3-0. But it was a very hard-fought 3-0. RNG still remembers that. I think it's going to be a 3-0 here today in favor of Invictus Gaming. Now, history will not remember how close this set will be. But we don't care about history. What happens here is the results. The results matter. Invictus Gaming still have very strong team fighting, and that's something that RNG lacks.
Okay, so now your prediction, but you can't say uh-oh.
Yeah, not
you
gonna
can say uh-oh.
Not going to say uh-oh. I think it's going to be a 3-2, but I think it's going to be RNG that takes it. Now, ultimately, this is the weakest that IG have looked, and RNG, outside of the top lane now being shifted kind of in their favor, Xiaohu's not that much weaker than Rookie. Uzi is definitely stronger than JackeyLove. They actually say that JackeyLove is the less experienced Uzi. And so then my X factor is MLXG versus Ning, and MLXG is playing the best that he ever has in his career during these playoffs. So I think RNG, I think they've got it, and more importantly, to go to a best of 5 and actually win in Game 5, this is what I want. I want Uzi to step up, to take command, to not just end at 2,000 kills, but to lift that trophy, because this is the hardest hurdle that he has between him and MSI.
So we just heard that from you, Frost, that your X factor is going to be coming out of the jungle. Raz, what determines this matchup for you? You said Invictus Gaming 3-0. What is it about IG's so stacked lineup that just upsets the whole thing?
The structure that comes about it, because I did talk about team fighting, and the structure a lot just comes onto Ning. So early game structure, he's able to keep these lanes uptight. I do not believe MLXG will do enough, especially when he's combined with Xiaohu, to be able to offset that, especially when we get into the team fight.
Did you see his Gragas play, Raz?
I saw it.
Sweet Gragas play.
Okay, here's when I have to get this off my chest, because even though MLXG has been playing incredibly well throughout the playoffs, when he went up against WE, when we went up against Snake, there were oftentimes you still see that greed coming at him when it comes to his early invade.
Sometimes you just gotta feed.
That's
sometimes you just gotta give him false sense of security.
That's fair, but you're going up against the most dominant team, and I feel like you make those mistakes and they will pay.
I'm gonna disagree with Raz. But I'm going to say that Invictus Gaming, where I actually think that they have the strengths, is not on the Rift, but actually outside of the Rift. I think IG have been much more consistent in their drafting, and their drafting strategies are much more sound, and they've also showcased more play styles. So I think that even though they don't have access to the Shy, it doesn't mean that Invictus Gaming can't run multiple styles. I just think that Mafa is much stronger than Heart.
That's why there's so much, I would say, curiosity for everybody when it comes towards the drafting sense of it, because we didn't expect what RNG did when they went up against Invictus Gaming 5 sets ago, because they started to draft heavy scaling compositions. We didn't know that Heart was going to go in that direction. So there is a lot of wrenches that they can throw at us. So, I mean, it's 8.6. This is the first time we're really seeing Invictus Gaming coming up on that patch, so I want to see what they can do with it.
Yeah, so still, this is Invictus Gaming with 2 full weeks of preparation trying to take down RNG. And we're seeing MLXG play well. There's still Let Me and Carceraz as well. You still think it's going to be a 3-0?
Oh, you're going to challenge me again?
I'm challenging you again. Because you're the flip-flopper for the desk, so I just want to, I'm giving you the opportunity now. I'm giving you 1 flip-flop card. Do we have a flip-flop? We don't have any flip-flops.
I will put my foot down.
Okay.
Foot down.
Yeah.
Even with Zatai in the top lane, the best thing about Zatai is the fact that he can look towards abusing the early game, maybe if Duke doesn't show up today. That's fair. But they can get past that, and a lot of questions are still about team fighting when it comes to going up against RNG. RNG is not known for being a strong team fighting team, and Invictus Gaming was able to do that against one of the best in Rogue Warriors. And of course, against RNG being able to stomp them. I feel like there are still a lot of points that RNG have to prove to me.
But ultimately, Invictus Gaming isn't a team fighting team either. Both these teams are ranked 13th and 14th in terms of number of team fights per game. These are not bloody teams. These are 1-3-1 stylistic teams that love to play those side lanes, although we don't know if these top laners that they're fielding today will give them access to that. So I don't necessarily, while I agree that IG are the better team fighters, I don't necessarily think that they're going to be given that many opportunities to use that as an advantage.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree with you in the sense that there's just not a lot of points we can reference. Not a lot of points we can reference for Invictus Gaming when it comes to team fighting with Duke specifically as well. So a lot of it just comes down to what do we see on the day from both of these teams, and can they actually adapt going into game 2? Because the points of adaptation, I think Invictus Gaming have it strong with the amount of picks that they've showcased that they can counterpick, specifically mid lane. So I want to see what they can do from that point. RNG have to prove to me with that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've still got the chance to see that. Jackie Love, you can see on your screen getting ready for this. We do have to apologize for the brief delay before we get into game. Hopefully we'll get that resolved as quickly as possible. In the meanwhile, and I'm sure my wonderful analysts are going to love this, let's take a deeper dive into this matchup.
My favorite words.
Absolutely. So, Ning, on your screen, Frosk, he was your wild card in the jungle against MLXG. Do you really think MLXG is going up against Ning, who now has 2 weeks of prep and footage before this? I mean, still going to bring it to Game 5 with the win?
They're completely different styles. MLXG is still that battle skirmish heavy jungle. He usually falls behind in CSD. He usually falls behind in experience percentage, but he's very good at ganking repeatedly. Ning is much more about the counter gank. So can Ning be in position to catch an aggressive MLXG?
Well, now it turns out that those delays were actually resolved right away.
Nailed it.
So our casters are ready to get us into game. First, though, let's hear Wookie's thoughts on the matchup.
我个人觉得我们常规赛的整个状态的话是很好，算状态很不错吧，不然拿不到这么好的成绩吧。然后我个人觉得我们还是多多准备一下，就是季后赛的一些比较强势一点的队友吧。我们目标的话肯定是拿冠军，然后联赛冠军，然后拿到 MSI 的门票，然后再去世界赛证明一下我们战队有多实力。
You heard it there, right there from Rookie. This is one of the most dominant teams that we've seen in LPL history, and it's Invictus Gaming's goals to pick up a championship here in spring 2018. They're going to try and start that by taking down RNG in the semifinals. RNG again, they're no longer the top tier team, they're the contenders going into this match.
Pretty much. IG has been the most dominant team that we've seen in the LPL for a very long time. Remember that 88% win rate right here, but right into the bad picks we go. First thing we have to say, IG did pick red side. They are the counter focused team. And for RNG, we were actually talking with the analysts before desk, and we felt that if MLXG was able to pick up Trundle, then RNG were actually going to win this set. This is a massive pick for RNG. This is basically counters out Duke and doesn't allow him to play a single tank composition right here.
Well, that was the first pick that came up from RNG on blue side. They locked in On as well as Kai'Sa, banning out Orianna, rookie signature champion, Olaf, as well as Rakan, the support in the bottom lane for Baolan. IG, they took away Thresh, Karma, Swain, 2 supportive bans being taken away against RNG, locking in Tahm Kench right away for Baolan. You've got Varus being picked up as the AD carry of choice for JackeyLove, as well as Gnar in the top lane.
And this is the first time we're going to see Duke actually pick up a Gnar. This is a big question coming into this series. What form is Duke in? Because currently we've only seen him on 3 tank champions. No bruisers whatsoever. So if he can actually make a statement game in game 1 with the Gnar pick, that's going to change the course of the entire set.
Certainly could. Remember, it's not the Shy. The Shy, unfortunately, has an injury at the moment, will not be playing in this semi-final match, or at least the first match against RNG. Satai's going to try and take it to his former team from Invictus Gaming. Go up against Duke, try and take him down. And Uzi is still looking for that crown. Moving into the second ban phase. Gangplank being taken away. Invictus Gaming as well as RNG both ban out this champion quite consistently. Zac being taken away from the jungle as well.
This is really interesting because IG is reading RNG's bluff. They know that the Ornn and the Trundle can both be flex picks. We've seen RNG go for the Trundle top lane. We've seen the Ornn support, so they're not letting their guard down. What this tells me is that they want to hyper-focus on the bot lane. If you pick Kai'Sa, you're not going to be picking it to win lane.
Kai'Sa's a very dominant champion at the moment, Clement. We're on patch 8.6 as well. This is where Kai'Sa got buffs after her initial release in 8.5. And the LPL was already trying to prioritize picks on Kai'Sa or ban the champion away. We already know that this champion is incredibly strong, and it's in the hands of the best AD carry in the world of Uzi.
I don't care if he's the best AD carry, the fact still stands. You pick a Kai'Sa, you have to expect that you're going to lose that bottom tower first. So I like what RNG is doing. They're picking for a late game super powerful team fight to counteract IG, and they're going to try to play through the top side. Try to get those lanes rolling and just let bot side keep the pressure, hold it down. And while on IG side, they're going to have to play very heavily through the bot side in turn. That's actually the opposite to what JackeyLove has been doing this entire split.
2 very different play styles, 2 very different focuses coming into the first draft pick phase here. We have Braum as well as Vladimir being locked in for RNG as their final 2 picks. MLXG, he was known to pick up Gragas in the jungle. That was his specialty. Ning's going to be taking it into the jungle here today.
And this is really interesting because Ning has actually said that the Gragas is just a weaker version of the Sejuani. However, the Sejuani was still open. He still went for the Gragas. So this basically tells me that this is a playmaking champion. He really needs to blow up the entire bot lane.
Yeah, Sejuani was left open. It's the most played champion for Ning in the LPL. 14 games on Sejuani. He's only played 2 games on Gragas this split. This will be his 3rd pick of Gragas heading into the semi-finals. The first game that Invictus Gaming will be playing in playoffs. Rookie, we already mentioned that Orianna was banned away against him. His signature pick in the mid lane, he picks up Talia.
Yep, and we do see the difference in ideas right here. IG, I still think they have the cleaner draft phase. They want to go entirely towards the bot lane. Tons of playmake potential. Talia, Gragas, various stuns to follow up as well. While RNG, their trademark has always been to be reactive on the blue side. So they went for double flex picks. However, in the end, they couldn't find a good matchup against Duke. They're hoping that if things really went to another tank in the top lane, they could have flexed that Trundle towards the top lane. That didn't happen. Duke came up with a new champion in Gnar this split, and now they're actually looking at a bit of an awkward draft for RNG.
Why do you think that's going to be an awkward draft for them? Because yes, they don't get the Trundle counter matchup into that tank, taking away Duke's power, but it's still a very powerful pick in the jungle itself.
Yeah, the problem is you can't really expect to win the entirety of the top lane. Gnar is a good matchup into the Ornn so far, so you can't really expect push to come out of that lane. What RNG's game plan was coming in before this was most likely to punish Duke on tanks, push into their jungle, and from there try to affect the mid lane. However, I don't think they have a dominant stance in the top side, while on the flip side, we do see IG have very strong weapons, strong counters to RNG in the bottom side of the map. We've seen the LMS playoffs so far. If you pick a Kai'Sa into a Varus, you have to expect to lose that first tower.
Varus is incredibly dominant. We're not patch 8.8 or 8.7 where the changes have come through for Varus. Still very strong, still picks up the Grinz's Rage Blade, and there's very few champions in the bottom lane itself that can actually defeat Varus during the laning phase. On top of that, it is one of JackeyLove's most played champions, and he's incredibly proficient on the champion. There's going to be a big battle between RNG as well as Invictus Gaming. We're heading into the first match of the semi-finals. Let's get on to Summoner's Rift.
Immediately, we're seeing action coming out on the Rift. IG going into the enemy jungle, but not being able to place any wards down.
Not able to get any vision at all there, Clement, trying to see if they could spot out any delayed invades coming out from MLXG. I mean, we saw him play in the semifinals. We saw when he picked up Olaf, went for a very, very delayed blue invade that almost costed a level 1 for RNG. They were able to call their way back in that matchup. But this time around, nothing too cheesy coming out from the two teams. We're onto the Rift for game number 1. You can hear the fans in the Hangzhou arena screaming for both RNG as well as Invictus Gaming.
Sorry about that, but actually IG did manage to get a ward down to track where Trundle will start in this matchup. Now, this is the Rejuve B start Trundle, which we've been seeing quite often. If you use this, you actually can clear your entire jungle without a good leash, and you can start your 3 camps being down only 130 HP.
Which does allow the bottom lane to get into the laning phase nice and early. Uzi as well as Ming get access to that without giving MLXG a leash, but Ning does the exact same thing for Invictus Gaming. That means that Jackalov and Balon are not hindered by that start that comes out from Kaiser as well as Ming, but this is cheeky. MLXG going for a very early gank into the bottom lane. Uzi's already got some good damage to Jackalov, flashed away, stunned by Braum. MLXG's coming in as well. Trundle Pillar is there. This could be first blood, and it's going to be picked up by Uzi, the star player for RNG.
And they actually give the kill over towards the Kai'Sa just to scale her up earlier. Now, this has been a big point with Invictus Gaming bot lanes. They are the most gank lane in the LPL. 86%, 86 ganks over the split. This is also why Invictus Gaming rarely gets first bloods. So you could see that. Ballan had the right idea. They did put the ward down, but unfortunately, I actually think Jackalov was slow to react there.
He was a little bit slow to react because there was a ward, as you mentioned, to spot out that jungle path that came out from MLXG. He took a very creative path. He tries to go straight towards a blue buff after the gank of the bottom lane, but Ning as well as Rookie rotate over, allowing Ning to secure his second buff. So MLXG is a little bit behind the jungle at the moment. We'll have to see what Ning can do with his CS lead as well as the pathing lead at the moment. He's had access now to MLXG jungle as well.
Definitely, and already clearing out that side of the jungle, going on to his path further. Now, the Trundle pick, the reason we say it's so important for RNG is because it allows you to win late game team fights. If you look at the tank line from RNG, it's far superior to IG. If this goes late and you have the Guinsus on the Kai'Sa with the Plasma build and you're just trading tanks, playing that World of Tanks game, then RNG is definitely going to come out ahead at 40 minutes.
We're still a long way away from getting into that late game. The only thing we've really seen too far is going to be MLXG getting that gank into the bottom lane, allowing Uzi to get slightly ahead, but it's still up against a Varus matchup. He picks up 2 daggers for himself on his recall. Some of the spells are still in favor of Uzi though. Meanwhile, we have a gank coming in behind the turret of the mid lane. Rookie as well as Ning looking for that one. MLXG was right behind in case that gank went through.
Yep, and this is Ning trying to secure an advantage for his bot lane. Their game plan is still to blow that bot lane up, but they can't do it if MLXG is cutting the jungle in half.
Moving now towards his Krugs now as well. Still farming back up. You can see he's picked up the attack on Trundle. And it's going to be more of a supportive base champion. Previously, we've seen Trundle be picked up in the top lane or as a support, or historically in the jungle, builds towards a tanky champion. But it makes sense now to be a big pickup for RNG and go towards the supportive item builds as well, because that allows Uzi to be more of a playmaker.
That's definitely true. Recently, the Trundle has been picked a lot just because of his early dominance in lane. Jackalov has to know something is coming. Uzi is trading with him quite frequently here.
But they still haven't spotted him out. Jackalov is playing this one a little bit safe. You can see Balon now, level 4, has access to all of his abilities. So if Jackalov gets into the same situation that he found himself in at level 1, this time Balon can protect him. And it's his most played champion as well. Picking up Tahm Kench is a priority pick for Invictus Gaming. It's a champion that RNG constantly ban out in their matches as well, denying that safety for their opposition's AD carry.
They do want a lot of action to happen around Uzi. This is why actually we initially didn't really think that Uzi was going to be big on Kai'Sa, because Kai'Sa is not a champion that you can punish lane very heavily with. However, today, the reason they're picking up Kai'Sa, I think it has a lot to do with Duke playing in the top lane. They do have another avenue to play on the Rift. You know, there's only 2 places you want to play in League of Legends. You either play towards the top side or you play towards the bottom side. They're going to try to absorb with Kai'Sa, try to take away threats that IG is going to throw at them and then outscale towards the late game.
Well, they've already been able to get Kai'Sa slightly ahead in the bottom lane. We mentioned that puts JackeyLove a little bit behind because that was meant to be a very dominant side of the map for Invictus Gaming. Now IG are going to try and take that dominance back, rotating both Ning as well as Rookie into the bottom lane. Blast going through as well as the Weave as well, trying to cut them off. Flash over coming out from Uzi. They knock Ming back in towards the range of the rest of the 4 IG members. They get a single pick, but Uzi stays alive.
And that happened so fast, right after Ning cleared out that ward behind the red buff. We call that the highway from mid to the bot lane. And you can see this is what has made IG such a strong team, because they are so fast on the rotations. And MLXG, even though he knew where the enemy jungler was, he wasn't able to react in time. Xiaohu's also spotted here.
Yeah, the only thing Xiaohu was able to do is push in the mini wave underneath Rookie's turret, deny some CS there, but the CS between the 2 mid laners is fairly even at the moment. As we mentioned, Uzi was able to burn both his summoner spells. He got away from that gank of the bottom lane by Invictus Gaming. And we mentioned that they could play towards the top side of the map. They could try and assist Duke, who is doing fine in the top lane at the moment on Gnar against Tatai's on. Hasn't gone back to base just yet. Neither has Tatai. He's had the luxury of building items in lane so far.
And we do have to remember, Duke is the person that ended RNG's 2016 Worlds run. The last game he played, he actually played a fighter. He took the Aurelia and ended RNG's dreams of a championship. So this is a guy with a history of playing that 4-1 split push for Korea. This is a guy that can go for those bruisers, and he's trying to make a statement in Game 1.
But both these teams, Clement, they're known for their split pushing potential. Maybe not in the same 1-4, exact 1-4 style. But throughout this entire split, we've seen IG try to stay away from teamfights. We know they were very weak at teamfights in the early stages of Spring Split. Something that they cleaned up moving towards the final phases of Spring Split. And they said they're very comfortable teamfighting now. But again, RNG averaged 2 teamfights a game on the games that they win.
That's very low in the LPL. Now, IG are an extremely bloody team. They play at a champion kill per minute of 0.8. That's actually 53% faster than the fastest LCK team in Rock's Tigers. But the way they get their kills is through small skirmishes. They have the most solo kills, and they also move Rookie and Ning around to all of the lanes most frequently as well. So they're much more of a small skirmish team. On the other hand, RNG has kind of the same stats, but they do it in a 1-3-1 style. They actually go much later in the game. They're slower to start up, but they also have that skirmishing power later on.
And again, a lot of those solo kills came from the Shy, who is not playing for Invictus Gaming in this matchup. But we already said Duke is very solid. He's very stable, has a history against RNG, and he can be that facilitator that Invictus Gaming need later on the match. He's been left in an island on his own against Tatai so far, so we haven't seen too much of him just yet. All the focus has been towards the bottom side of the map. For both RNG as well as Invictus Gaming. RNG very early on, getting that first blood. IG reacting, making sure that JackeyLove can claw his way back into the matchup. Now continuing to try and be a little bit more dominant in that bottom lane.
IG are the ones that need an early lead this time around just to justify the Gragas pick. He's a playmaker, but late game he's not a very good tank. And the key thing isn't about how many kills that IG can get on the bottom side. It's about how much damage they can put on that first tower. Now, I'm going to give you a stat that might surprise you, but when IG take the first tower, they have actually never lost a single game. That's how dominant they are. Their rotations are incredibly crisp, and that's also why Tahm Kench is their second most played, because they can instantly turn a bot lane tower into a mid lane 4-man.
And they pick up the first turret in their matches 76% of the time. It is incredibly high up there, and IG able to punish when they do that. They picked up the right champions to do so as well, Clement. We know that IG have to find these kills and these skirmishes across the map time and time again. They picked up Talia, can rotate around the map quite nicely. We already seen one use of the Weave as well in the bottom lane. They have Tahm Kench as well as a teleport on their top laner. These 5 members can collapse onto any single part of the map nice and easy. You can already see that they're trying to do so in the bottom lane once again. Ning is set up to try and get a gank going. Rookie is cheated into Fog of War, trying to get that ultimate down there as well. They're going to go for another dive here, Clement.
Here
Ultimate's
comes
coming out.
though.
Rookie's going to come through. Xiao's going to try and collapse, but they're taking down Uzi. The Uncrowned King's already dead. Baolan's taking up the turret here, forced to flash away. Ming's in trouble, gets flicked back, and JackeyLove picks up that kill. 2 more picks for IG.
And this does force so many rotations from RNG. You could see their mid laner and jungler effectively do nothing, and they also take Xiaohu down.
Xiaohu was caught underneath that turret, which means IG get another kill. They're moving towards the turret, and first turret's picked up by JackeyLove.
Oh wow, history tells us IG has 100% win rate when they pick up a first tower. You can already see all of their members moving out for lane, pushing that down and taking that dragon. That's going to give them another tempo lead when they come back on the map still, because Uzi and Ming have to take care of that bot lane wave.
Both Duke as well as Tatai teleported back to lane about 30 seconds before that fight happened. Duke was then bullied out by Tatai as well, so was able to do successfully there, but no top laners impacted this fight, and it was all the IG show.
Yeah, pretty much. The first Gragas barrel wasn't even that good. He didn't get a knockback, but that wall coming out from rookies Talia was masterful. He really put Xiaohu in a very bad position, and right here, I just think he forgets that Varus is still holding on to the chains of corruption. Actually, didn't even need to use it. He just died right there.
Just takes him down. Rookie, you can see, very excited. We already heard from Rookie before going to this match. He's a lovable player. He's been adopted as one of the hometown heroes here in China as well. And he's already having a great start to game number 1. Once, like we said earlier, IG have so many ways to rotate around the map, and they're now trying to gank Tatai in the bottom lane. Balan trying to bring Ning down here. Flash is available for Tatai, and he's able to create enough distance for himself as it's RNG that start the first swap in this matchup, sending Uzi towards the top side of the map.
We do see the stats coming out for Baolan's Tom Kench. 10 wins and only 1 loss. 42% of the 42 rate for him. I'm not really sure what that means. Probably appearance rate.
On top of that, he picks up Tom Kench as his second most played champion, only going towards Braum more frequently. And you can see how much emphasis these two teams have on protecting their AD carries. Uzi, we already know, he's a veteran. He's the best AD carry in the world. And he's said it time and time again. If the young blood in the LPL want to take him down, come at him. They haven't been able to do so just yet. Rookie, however, is being ganked in this mid lane, forced to flash away. Does take some damage from both MLXG as well as Xiao.
Great rotation coming out from RNG. They're just here to force Talia away from the tower, and they actually have all members here. They did swap preemptively. They had Zatai in the bottom lane instead of Uzi picking up that bot wave, so they're able to make this quick rotation.
They get some damage as the mid lane out of turret, but they're already being forced back. The rest of Invictus Gaming will play this one safe, rotate into the middle lane, and make sure that RNG can't take an objective for themselves. IG have matched the lane assignments that RNG have distributed. Jackie Love has now been sent into the top side of the map. His Guinsoo's Rage Bait is already complete. That's a big item power spike for Varus. Uzi is not close to picking up his just yet.
Yep, even though Uzi had a sizable CS lead before the rotation in towards the mid lane, Jackie Love did get all of that tower gold, and they're already sniffing out a potential gank from MLXG.
And you can see Uzi wants to go back to base. He has all the components for that Rage Blade. He needs to pick it up because without the item, there's no way he can go toe-to-toe with the damage that Jackie Love is going to output. Kaiser does have an ultimate that can get him into these skirmishes nice and easy if RNG try to start something without Uzi being here right away. But IG should get some chip damage here. They have Ning waiting in the wings. MLG is forced to clear out the minions that are on the top side of the map. Ming actually taking some damage here, forced to use Cleanse to jump away from this turret. Jackie Love still getting good damage down here. The demolition will come out from Baolan as well. And Uzi just too slow getting back towards the top side of the map. Second turret falls to Invictus Gaming.
You could see there was a lot of hesitation coming out from Uzi. He actually stutter-stepped around the bot lane, thinking if he was going to go for that bot lane kill instead.
Trying to lock down Jackie Love as well. Gets stunned. Baolan saves him from now. Ning's trying to jump in. Body pop forward. Slows down Uzi. Throws the cast out, but good shield for Ming. Knocks RNG
Very
back.
low.
Ming's trying to run away. Jackie Love flashes forward. Hail of arrows. Picks up the kill. Tatai now with a deep flank. Rookie trying to jump in as well, but he's been collapsed on. Rookie's dead. Uzi picks up the kill, jumping over the ultimate, but Duke is now teleporting to fight. He's almost going mega. They've locked down Tatai. IG pick up another kill.
And IG come out ahead massively with the extra kill onto the top lane and also a Rift Herald right there. I think the problem was that their bot lane teleport towards the top was actually desynced with the top of the fight. What they wanted to do was send Zatai to the back line and join the Ming initiate. That never happened on time, so instead they went for the other kill here. They were already pinging for the ward in the top lane, but for some reason Zatai actually teleports very slow in this scenario. So you can see that this fight, even though RNG had a great idea, it was so far off the mark in terms of execution. They turn onto Rookie instead, and even though they get a good kill, a good return kill for them, everything still goes IG's favor.
Yeah, that's the only thing that they're able to pick up. One kill onto Rookie, catching him, rotating through that river. But Tatai, as well as being fall during that fight. You mentioned it yourself, Rift Herald was going to be picked up by IG shortly after. So that's 2 turrets. They've got Rift Herald, which means another one in their back pockets if they need it. Infernal Dragons come up in a minute 30. You'd have to think IG, they're going to be comfortable trying to fight for that as well. and they have a 4,000 gold lead here just 15 minutes into the match against RNG.
RNG has actually taken no towers so far this match. IG are looking at a potential where they can take down 6 towers against 0. And if it gets to that phase, I feel like IG has this in the back, even with a worse team fighting comp.
Invictus Gaming commonly close out their games, Clement, with a 9,000 gold lead. 9,000 gold is how much they usually finish their matches with. RNG, 2,000 to 3,000. So this is a gold lead that RNG constantly use, Clement, to clean up games. IG, they're comfortable with so much more. They can use this to try and clean up the game, but they're going to be able to snowball so much further if history repeats itself.
A very dominant team so far in the LPL, and they do like those early game leads. They're so good at pushing out the entirety of the map. Already forcing down the mid lane right here. Trundle is slow on the rotation. They're going to take it down.
Here you pick up another turret from themselves. So all 3 outer turrets have been taken down here by Invictus Gaming. They picked up a 5,000 gold lead for themselves. Infernal Dragon is coming up in 24 seconds. This is the team that can collapse, can look for those skirmishes. And they might try and do so just here. RNG, we mentioned already that they're a team that wins off of 2 team fights in 1 match. If they could somehow pick a good fight over this Infernal Dragon, that could be the first fight for them to try and get back to this match and 1 step closer towards a victory.
Yeah, we could already see the game plan formulating here for RNG. They're going to try to get Xiaohu extremely fed. If you look at IG's compositions, they're all a bunch of very soft champions. You can take them down with a single rotation of Vladimir. That Vladimir is going to be a nuclear bomb come the late game. So they're sending him out towards the furthest part of the lane and telling him, hey, even if we lose tower, it's fine. Get your farm up.
But IG have focus on the bottom side of the map. They took down Infernal Dragon. They've rotated towards the tie. No flash available for On. Jackie Love gets another kill. RNG, they're going to try and focus in the mid lane. Rookie's being tagged by Kai'Sa, takes some damage, and actually had his ultimate available as well. Weaver's Wall comes through, knocks back Ming, but it gets countered by that shield. Turret should fall here in the mid lane, but Ning, he's in the back lines, looking to try and knock back Uzi. Doesn't get anything for it. IG still pushing in this bottom lane. They knock down the bottom lane inner turret, pushing towards the inhibitor as well.
And RNG probably aren't strong enough to really try to pincer them into the bot lane. So they're just going to clear this out, and I actually think that trade was in favor of RNG. They did lose 1 more kill for it, but you have to remember that Xiaohu in the top lane has been getting free farm this entire time. That's one of their sole win conditions in the late game. Xiaohu getting a full rotation into the back line will end IG.
That's if he can get into that back line. And how far behind can RNG actually fight from, even if Xiaohu gets that flank? Because slowly but surely, Invictus Gaming are increasing their gold advantage. They've already taken out so many objectives. You have Dragon, Rift Herald being taken out, 2 Elemental Dragons from Invictus Gaming. Crucially, an Infernal Dragon as well. They've taken out all the outer turrets. Bottom lane inner's gone down. And it doesn't get any better for RNG, because Baron's going to be spawning in a minute 40. That's another objective that Invictus Gaming could pincer RNG into fighting over.
And this is actually a fairly fast Baron team. They do have the disengage from the Talia and the Gragas, and the percentage health damage from the Gnar and the Varus as well. So if they start setting up on here, they're going to try and force RNG into this corner before Xiaohu is ready.
Not to mention, you said it yourself, this is a team that wants to fight in those skirmishes, get those picks. With their team composition, they could try and find those before going towards Baron as well. Big item leads were picked up by Jackie Love early. He had the Gwyn's Rage Raid as well as Hurricane before Uzi picked his up. Now just with a pickaxe advantage, so RNG could try and use that only slight disadvantage instead of the major disadvantage that Uzi had earlier to try and find a fight. Kai'Sa is an incredibly strong champion. And we've seen what Uzi can do with the champion. We've seen what lots of AD carries in the LPL can do with the champion. But as you mentioned, it always gets put behind through laning phase.
Yep. The key thing about the Kai'Sa is when you want to start your initiation, but here comes Ning.
Oh, Ning wants to start initiation right now, Clement. Ming's forced to flash away, uses the cleanse to get away from Chains of Corruption. IG using quite a few ultimates there to try and start a fight. Ning forced to flash as well, but Duke's being tagged in the bottom lane. Uzi's going to try and hunt him down. Flashes away from the second charge. The ultimate coming out from On. Can he get away? No, he can't. Uzi picks up that kill. 1 pick going to RNG.
And that was great timing from Uzi right there, because IG had already expended most of their initiations. There was no chance they were going to walk into a Baron pit.
That was the only time he could do that as well, because that's 10 seconds till Baron spawns. So Uzi, that's the last time we're probably going to see him on the bottom side of the map. RNG gets something for it, but it's just a pick. IG still with a 5,000 gold lead, and they're being a little bit cheeky here, waiting inside a fog of war.
It's a very tense moment. Ning's coming out. He does not have his ultimate, so it's just there to try to scare RNG away. RNG probably know this as well, but they're not going to risk the chain of corruptions coming out from Jackie Love.
Still on cooldown at the moment. That's halfway back up. Summoner spell still available for Jackie Love as well. They have to respect Invictus Gaming whenever they make plays like this. They are the ones with vision control around the river at the moment. Good wards inside of RNG's blue side of the jungle as well, tracking their every movement and threatening that major objective every chance they get. You mentioned that Xiaohu's going to be the major carry for the team. He's already picked up 2 items here, Clement. Proto Belt as well as Shirela's Revelry. He has the ability now to get into the backlines and has Ghost to do so as well.
Yep, definitely. I think IG really need to take the Baron before Xiaohu can really finish his Zhonya's, because when he gets that Zhonya's, it's so hard to see how IG can actually start winning these team fights. So they're actually on a pretty tight clock here. They do have a 5k lead, but they need to use it and transfer it to Baron pretty soon.
But the only movements they made so far is getting vision down, which RNG have countered and swept away and make sure they take vision back for themselves. Again, Xiaohu's been farming up this entire time. Has a stopwatch for himself as well. Not going towards the Zhonya's just yet. That is a stopwatch in the bank, so to speak, meaning that he can use it during that next team fight, which again, RNG desperately need to try and take against IG with the leads that IG have acquired through laning phase. But this is not the first time we've seen this from Invictus Gaming. It's almost every single match we've watched for them where they're able to acquire such a massive lead for themselves in the laning phase.
Definitely true thing. And IG, that's why the analyst desk thinks that they are the better drafting team. They have a more cohesive plan most of the time. For RNG, they're much more reactive. They like to clobber the first few picks in the blue side and make all of them kind of flex picks and then decide where they want to go with their drafting phase right here. And I think it did cost them a bit in the early side. They did try to get a couple kills bot, but they weren't able to push anything in the top side.
Yeah, they had some cheeky plans to try and get Uzi ahead nice and early, but they're trying to hunt down Rookie as well. Gets tagged on the top side of the map, knocked back by Ming's Trundle Pillar. Did allow Kaiser to get the jump if she wanted to, but IG rotating, looking for a flank themselves. RNG respect that. They draw back, move closer towards their side of the map, closer towards their turrets. Threaten IG to go for the fight. A flick back comes out from Rookie, gets some damage onto MLXG. Jackie Love still farming on the top side of the map. And although IG are putting a lot of pressure here, at the same time, Xiaohu, he's farming mid lane. He's happy to push this one back, happy to draw that focus for IG. Duke as well as Satai, they're constantly in a split push battle in the bottom lane. They found MLXG again. He's very low, cut off by Rookie as well. Ultimate is going to come out. He's forced to flash away. Now they're going to get Uzi as well. Flicked backwards, so low. Jackie Love gets the kill. Big mistake coming out from RNG. Ming is going to fall as well if they can find one more skill shot. But Baolan's forced to flash in. Rookie gets that kill. And that was a clear mistake coming out from RNG.
Yeah, RNG were sitting on the wrong side of the tower. They should have stepped in the lane onto the leftmost side. Instead, they tried to find an opportunity to potentially cut off IG when they were trying to siege in, and that cost them massively. IG are going to pick up a very easy Baron here.
2 times that MLXG gets caught in the jungle there, Comet. The first time, he just took a little bit of damage. Second time around, not only did it cost him Uzi's life as well as Ming's, he burned his summoner. He burned his ultimate. And as you said, IG pick up a very easy Baron buff for themselves with an 8,000 gold lead.
I have to say, that was just such an opportunistic try from MLXG, staying on that side of the corridor, trying to pincer Jackie Love if he stepped too far in. But IG were already ahead of the play. They read MLXG like a book. They knew he was going to be waiting there, and they used all of their globals to instantly snack him down, get the Baron before Xiaohu can get Zhonya's.
And we know that RNG can scale up and try and get big in the late game, but Jackie Love, he's already so far ahead. Infinity Edge as well as Hurricane already picked up for Varus, has the Rage Blade as well. Physical damage build coming out from Jackie Love.
RNG, their game plan has to go later and later, but they're going to try to get a catch now.
They're going to try and fight right now. Xiaohu finds a flank onto Jackie Love. He's trying to kite this one through, takes too much damage, but takes one person down with him. Baolan will pay for it as well. Uzi gets a kill, and RNG say now is the time to fight. They get 2 for themselves.
Definitely going to drag that Baron timer out quite a bit. I'm actually surprised that Ming somehow was still taken out by Jackie Love right there. Even with the flash, he wasn't able to escape cleanly.
That just buys them some time. They don't get any major objective for themselves.
That E-lands
now locking down onto Rookie as well. Kaiser able to dash in. Should be an easy pickup for Uzi. And IG, they're still holding on here, Clement. IG were perfect all the way to this moment. The mistake after mistake, allowing RNG some breathing room.
IG are still very inexperienced when it comes to the super late game. They're not a team that plays a lot of late games. They finish games in 31 minutes. So a lot of how to close out might be unfamiliar to them. against a team that is as experienced as RNG. And that's also one of the reasons why we said Trundle was such an important pick for MLXG. It works too well with too many combos. You can combo it with the Swain, you can combo it with the Kai'Sa, and you can also do it with the Camille.
And we already mentioned earlier how IG, when they close out games, 9,000 gold lead. Looks like a great stat when you're 3,000 gold ahead in the early game. It's just going to get worse and worse for the opposition, but it's a double-edged sword. If they need that type of gold lead to close out games, RNG, they're the opposite. 2 to 3,000 gold. They'll close out a game, no problem. It means the exact same when they're behind. 2 to 3,000 gold behind, they can try and fight their way back into it. Slowly clawing this one back, but they're still facing a massive deficit. A 6,000 gold lead for Invictus Gaming. They just picked up their 3rd Elemental Dragon as well. Baron's going to be coming up in about 4 to 5 minutes, and they still have Baron buff on a couple of members.
And that's a great point you're making. IG, they have not played a lot of close games in the LPL so far. I think this is the biggest test for JackeyLove in particular, because most of the time in the late game team fights, he's not even orb walking. He's so far ahead, he's standing in the front lines. Here comes the flank.
They're going for another fight, and Initiation's going to come out. JackeyLove forced to flash away, but he's been tagged! Uzi in the back lines! Xiaohu takes down the carrier of IG. Baolan's going to be next as well. The flick back from Rookie doesn't matter, and it's disaster for IG at the moment.
And you can see Hart right there nodding his head. They're like, IG, they don't know how to play the 1-3-1. This is our purview. This is our turf. This is the style that made us successful in the LPL, and you're not stealing that away from us.
We already mentioned it, 2 team fights. RNG have found 2 skirmishes already. They're going to break mid lane in a turret, and IG for the gold lead they have, they don't look like they're dominant at the moment. Good flick back coming out from Rookie. Ning was forced to flash away there. Inhibitor turret is under siege, but RNG are fairly low. They need to retreat away from this. Ultimate not available for Gragas. Can't find the initiation that IG really wants to go for, but during this entire time, Duke, the facilitator for the team, the substitute coming into game 1, he's taken down top lane Inhibitor turret.
Duke is showing that he still has it. He still knows how to play that Korean top lane, split push 1-4 style, and taking something back when RNG were going for another objective. I think the key player there was actually Rookie flipping most of the minion wave along with the RNG players. That actually cleared out the entire wave, so they could not continue their push.
But back to the game plan for IG. Straight back into mid lane, knocking down mid lane in a turret, trying to take as many objectives as they can. They still hold on to the gold lead. They know that RNG are proactive in looking for these fights. And it's actually quite scary that RNG have been able to find these initiations. And slowly, Xiaohu's getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, the problem right here is that our IG actually didn't have enough wards in the mid lane to see this coming. And you can see instantly how easy it is with the Trundle pillar to tag onto a backline. Kai'Sa flies instantly in there, ends JackeyLove's life, but unfortunately that's actually when RNG should have backed up. They got nothing for pushing forward and traded a top lane inhibitor tower.
And slowly Uzi is getting incredibly strong as well. The 2 carries for RNG, the ones that want to take it to the late game, have got some crucial items. That stopwatch still hasn't been used by Xiaohu just yet. Can use it in a big team fight if he has to. Uzi's getting strong as well. Mercurial Scimitar complete, so he can get away from crowd control, get that extra boost of movement speed, and crucially lifesteal for Kai'Sa as well. Has a BF sword, moving towards probably that Infinity Edge next.
And we can see that it's a Talia right now. I don't think that she can go on a 1-3-1 mission anymore. The engages are coming too fast for RNG. They can punish mid lane at such an incredible pace that Rookie did not even use his ultimate last time they fought.
Which makes this on pick quite crucial for RNG. They took away the Parom, so there's no shield to deny the initiation coming out from On. And it's such a fast engage, as well as with Trundle locking down Balan, as well as JackeyLove in the mid lane. Uzi's trying to collapse it as well. JackeyLove trying to cut this one through. Has Ning in the back lines, but Xiaohu's here as well. Exhaust goes down. IG turned their focus towards the Vladimir. Balan trying to save the AD carry, but Uzi's back in the back lines once again. JackeyLove gets spin up a double kill. Being picked up by Uzi, chasing down remaining members, but the Duke is in the back lines, getting so much damage. Can they kill this Kai'Sa? A triple being picked up by Uzi. Duke is the last man standing, but RNG find a team fight.
And that's an open inhibitor for RNG. They should push straight into this. The key moments right there was the Acathian Rain, sniping down 2 IG members on the front line right there. Tons of damage coming out from Uzi.
There was good damage coming out from IG. It looked like a strong fight, but no one had access to Uzi. IG could not shut down this star. They're pushing through mid lane. Inhibitor turret is going to be taken down. Xiaohu's been sent back to the base to deal with the mini wave that was pushed in, and the first inhibitor is going to fall to RNG.
I feel like this is a laning allocation mistake from IG. They cannot put Talia in one of the side lanes. She's much too slow to come and help the rest of the team. They actually need to play a 4-1 style with the 4-man, with Talia going with the 3-man, and then have Nara as the sole split pusher. He does have the teleport to come in, but look at where Rookie's positioning is right here compared to Xiaohu. Xiaohu was waiting in that brush for so long. He finally found that Golden opportunity to go in on 3 members of the backline. Remember, there's not a lot of tanks on IG's roster right here.
And Uzi just gets free access. After Rookie gets tagged by Winners by lockdown, Ning tries to save him. Not going to happen. Scumbag Xiaohu steals the quadra kill, but it was the Uzi showing that team fight. And every team fight that RNG have looked for, it's been initiations coming up from Zatai. And Melixi and Xiaohu finding the flank, and Uzi on cleanup duty. He's the janitor right now, and he's picked up 9 kills, Connor.
Oh yeah, and if you look at that lifesteal, he's no longer afraid to go into that backline. If those are scatter fights right there, then they're going to win all of them. IG actually needs to keep the Gragas barrel just to dissuade Kai'Sa.
Well, IG trying to make a big power play here, cutting off RNG from getting access to this Baron pit. Baron is at 3,000 health. Can they try and jump in? Zatai going for the initiation, but it's going to be Baron secured for Invictus Gaming. Duke is in Mega Gnar. It's dangerous to go for a fight, but they are going to look for it anyway. Ning looks for the disengage, doesn't get it. Ming is very low at the moment. Baolan saves Jackie Love at the start of this fight. RNG now trying to retreat. They have low health bars on both their frontliners at the moment. So IG make a good play, pick up Baron buff for themselves.
Great retreat path from IG. They climb up the ramp and then shoot the chains of corruption down. So sticking everyone into that funnel. RNG don't want to risk that. Back off immediately.
And so far the team fight's been looking good for RNG, but IG now with Baron buff, with a Baron empowered minion wave, as well as a Banner Command minion looking to go through, trying to push for their inhibitor themselves. Jackie Love stepping up, getting that last auto attack, taking down that turret. Ming and Xiaohu at half health at the moment. Jackie Love gets access to the inhibitor as well, and they trade back an inhibitor for themselves.
IG are potentially looking at 2 inhibitors right now, but they are appealing for the Elder Drakes. For the next Infernal Drake right now.
2 Infernal Dragons going to be picked up by IG, buffing up Rookie, Duke, as well as Jackie Love quite nicely. And there's some extra ability power as well as extra damage going to these fights. RNG not fast enough to rotate and pick that up for themselves. RNG still in firm control of this game, but every single team fight that RNG have started has looked so good.
Yeah, they've actually won every team fight they started, and I think IG has now gotten the memo. They can't split up. They can't play the 1-3-1. It's too dangerous, even with the Tahm Kench. So they're going to look to set up these 5-man sieges. It is actually now up to RNG, up to Xiaohu specifically, to try and push one of these side lanes as far as possible and not allow IG to group.
Let's see if he can, because Rookie again is being sent on split push duty. Doesn't have a teleport. He's picked up heal as well as flash as his summoner spells of choice, pushing top side of the map. Duke will take over that duty in just a second. But across from him, Xiaohu, 2-1-7. Rabadon's Death Cap picked up, still has the stopwatch, has the Banshee's Veil. His final item yet to be complete, which should be a Zhonya's Hourglass. His 80 carry, Uzi, sitting on a Zeal. That's going to be the last item for him to complete, but he's looking across from Jacula, who just finished his own Guardian Angel. He's now at 6 items picked up on Varus.
And if you look at those items, that is a 80% crit Varus, so he's not going purely on the on-hit damage. Knows he still needs to pack a punch into the late game. So this is a very dangerous scenario, because if Jackie Love can actually find Kai'Sa, find the backline in terms of damage, he's going to obliterate them. This isn't the on-hit build.
Duke is very scary as well. He's 2-1-2 on Gnar. He's been split pushing the entire match, but he's Flame Horizon to tie. He might not be the flashy.
As well.
He might not be the flashy solo killer that we see from the Shy, but he's packed a lot of CS in this matchup. He's got a Gwinsu's Rage Blade. He has a Blade of the Ruin King. He's got a Black Cleaver picked up in this Gnar. Duke is looking to kill people, and he's slowly split pushing this Nexus down.
And I guess the answer to is Duke only a tank player is a solid no. He knows the matchup, he knows his role very well,
but he's being ganked.
Looking
to try and get taken down. Uzi's trying to move forward. Mercurial Scimitar gets used for the extra movement speed, but is it going to be enough? Duke's trying to get away, but the rest of IG, they don't care. Chase down that top laner. We're going to destroy your base. Team fight starts. RNG looking for it. Xiaohu uses the ultimate, gets locked down, forced to use the stopwatch. Jackie Love taking the turret very low. Zatai trying to jump back in. Jackie Love, stasis. Guardian Angel gets popped. He falls down a little bit too far forward there, Rookie. Zatai gets the kill. IG now going to try and chase forward, running away, backing off from RNG's base. At the same time, Duke was taken down by Uzi. He's farming up in the mid lane as well. IG were looking for the win, but they can't close it out.
That's actually massive for Jackie Love, because he expended all of his resources to try to finish the game right then and there. That was a 4v3 scenario. There was no reason that the Varus should have fell down. He loses his Guardian Angels and both Summoners. That's a massive teamfight opportunity for RNG.
But still coming every single time. It looks like RNG are going to win these fights decisively. They pick it up. They go for the initiation. They somehow find Duke. Yes, they lose their turret. They lose another inhibitor for themselves, and they've got no more inhibitor turrets left standing. you look at the scoreboard, yes, it's looking good in terms of kills, but there's still 7,000 gold behind Invictus Game.
Yeah, the gold really isn't that far behind. The biggest gold lead is actually on the Gnar, the full damage Gnar. This means that IG is never looking for team fights. They know they cannot compete in that category. They're just going to try to play the 4-1. This is what Duke won a world championship with. He is not a pushover, and he is certainly not a tank-only player.
Mid lane's dead even, and Xiaohu's still looking for that final item. Uzi, level 17, max items as well. Only bottom lane support for Baolan is 2,000 gold ahead. As well as you mentioned, Duke being far ahead of Zatai in the top lane. RNG can look for these 5-on-5 fights. Can Duke make the clutch plays, the clutch Gnar ultimates to try and shut down RNG if he groups up for fights like this?
RNG, they're trying to go for the preemptive 5v5 that they know they will win. However, they need to find something before that massive bot lane minion wave is going to crash into their Nexus.
And it's slowly pushing in. On top of that, Nexus
Here they
starts
go.
out low. They're looking for the fight right away. Tatai initiates that. Duke gets taken out instantly. Now a 4-on-5. Baolan tried to save Jackie Love from the initiations that came out. IG, 4 members strong, just trying to delay RNG because super minions are collapsing onto the Nexus. Ning is in the backlines with a flank as well, just trying to clear out these minion waves. RNG must push for the win here, Clement, or the minions will end the game for IG.
They still have the 5v4 advantage, but there's full way clear for IG. I don't see them being able to finish right here.
Flashing forward, Baolan's going to save Rookie, spits him back out towards the fountain. Jackie Love's trying to kite away from this. Uzi desperately trying to take down turrets, but look at the bottom left-hand side of that screen. Turrets are being destroyed by super minions. Ning is keeping it occupied. There is no way for RG to escape. Are you trapped in here with IG?
And they're going in for Rookie.
Uzi's
They get
going in.
Rookie.
Rookie's going to get taken down. RG,
Is this actually going to work?
Xiaohu, he's going to take down Baolan, chasing back Jackie Love as well. He's onto the fountain.
What are you doing,
Nexus, it's bare, but RG, they're going to try and take it down themselves. Ning has to put
Ning
up
is
a
so
miracle.
low. Here comes
Jackie
Ning.
Love has to do something as well.
Oh, they take
Uzi knocked into stasis. Jackie Love gets 2. Uzi's going to come back up, slowly take it down as well.
Down with the crit.
Another one for Jackie Love. Another one bites the dust. A quadra kill enemy picks up the teleport from Duke as well. That's going to be game. IG, they're going to be able to pick up game number 1, and it's going to be the Duke that does it for the team.
And IG managed to pick away at a miracle team fight right there. They actually did a lot of bad things in that team fight. They should have waited for that bot lane wave. There was no reason to step out of their home base, but they did so anyway in a bit of a greedy move and gave RNG several chances. I said that was RNG going to a late game, going a little bit fumbled and willing to risk everything for a clear team fight right there. And even though it was messy, even though it was high pressure, IG managed to come out ahead. Hero plays by Ballin right there, keeping Jackie Love alive towards the last moment. We could see Uzi, he was holding on to killer instincts for the entirety of that fight. He did not use it on Gnar. He was waiting for a backline carry to go in and pop that. He waited for so long. He got the rookie, but he wasn't able to find Jackie Love.
No, he was not able to take down Jackie Love, who stood his ground with the help of Rookie, with the help of Baolan, one by one, cut down members of RNG and allowed Duke to teleport into the base, get that game-winning play. And as much as IG led towards the entire match, Clement, RNG were fighting tooth and nail every single team fight.
Yeah, RNG just had the 1-3-1 read so well. IG, it really took them till 35 to understand lane assignments. But once they got it, they were able to steamroll.
They certainly weren't. They pick up game number 1. For now, though, let's send it back to the analyst desk to break down that game.
What an ending to game 1. Look, we don't have a lot of base races in League of Legends because inherently 5 versus 5, it's almost always a mismatch. But I think that is the closest we've had in years, and it came down to, what, 20 health on that final Nexus turret?
It was very low, and it was one of those moments where it was just the minions going for the base race. It was actually just a full defense from Invictus Gaming to hold on to the fort.
Amazing.
I got nothing. Like, if that series is indicative of all these other games, like, I just can't wait. Like,
That was game 1. That's the thing. Like Fish said at the end, that was game 1.
Yeah.
With the base race. We had a quadra kill. We had Kaisa popping off. We had team fights and split pushing. We had a Gwinsu's on Gnar for Duke in the top lane. Look, these teams are coming out swinging in the semifinal. I think we've got to back it up and start from the beginning because there's a lot to dissect for this matchup. And of course, the place that we start at is that draft in the beginning. We wanted to talk about it a little bit before the show, but had to see some tape for these picks. Now that we've seen it, what's the verdict on how these teams drafted, particularly in that game on Red?
Okay, do you want the first shot at this, or am I going to take it?
I'll go with the first hit just because the major points of this one is the fact that Invictus Gaming have, across the board, winning lanes. Gnar in the top lane up against the Ornn, mid lane Talia versus the Vladimir, going to be able to push that in. And then of course we were always talking about the Varus pick coming through. Varus pick, boom, Invictus Gaming's favor with the Tahm Kench. They got so much comfort in favor of them, and they were seen as the early game team, so they had themselves the early game composition.
So my issue with the composition, because I do agree with you, like giving IG winning lanes like that, never a good idea. My issue with RNG is that they let the Tahm Kench through. I don't actually care about all of the winning lanes across. I think that RNG had a really bad read at 10 minutes, letting those dives come through when they very clearly had information that IG were going to look for the dive. Just sack it at that point. Look for the lane assignment swap, get out of that position, back up, give them away the free tower. Don't just also give them kills. But by giving the Tahm Kench, it made it that much harder to 5v5. And that's why I really like RNG's comp, which was in that 5v5. The access of the Trundle, Vladimir, Kai'Sa backline threat. Like if Baolan is not on point with that Tahm Kench, Varus is never going to stand a chance. And then we saw it time and time again that IG were just getting ripped apart in these team fights.
Yeah, it's funny too, because of the mock drafts that I actually had with Clement, we just didn't leave.
Ban the Kench.
Kench just did not coming out of the bans because Megan found, or at least Baolan, found so much comfort on the champion. And it's just so strong when they're trying to eat pressure, when they're not literally trying to aggress in the lane. Their first death came in the bottom lane, and it was valuable to have the Tahm Kench so you would be able to play that one safely.
The other adjustment that I would do is I would change the Vladimir to an Azir. Now, Raz, we were talking about this, and I agree with you. By taking the Vladimir and then having access to teleport because you've unsealed Spellbook, you can follow the Talia when she tries to make those plays. I know you have the point on that, but the reason why I wanted the Azir is because that composition could outscale, and if you already have sacked all of your lanes to Invictus Gaming where you're giving them lane priority, then at least with the Azir, you have the ability to stall in blue side jungle or just to wave clear forever, which Vladimir, you don't get that same safety. It's not just about the wave clear, it's also about the utility that the Azir is bringing. And so that's the one adjustment that I would have made, but then you couldn't follow the Talia.
Yeah, the major issue is the fact that you can't follow the Talia. So RNG picking all three bad lanes is horrendous in the sense that the bottom lane dive is going to work. The only reason it shouldn't have worked this game, 10 minutes in when the dive does go bottom lane, is because Vladimir holds on to his Ignite. He has Spellbook. Second time he goes back, and he still has Ignite, leaving the base when he should hold on to TP. Double TP resolves that. You just hold on the focus and focus on the fact that bottom lane, you go for the defense, and you all in on the fact that that bottom play will not happen. And sure, there was a discussion about Uzi and Ming holding for level 6, but it wouldn't be an issue if the jungler was pathing down there fast enough, he was already at his Raptor, so you could tell that he didn't see the gank coming, or if TP was just prepared.
And while RNG did suffer a few dives in that bottom lane, it was when we saw them reset the map. About 30 minutes in, they swapped that Kai'Sa to the other side. They had that Kai'Sa in the mid lane just catching CS. I say that Kai'Sa, it's Uzi. It's the uncrowned king, the Mad Dog. And he's able to pop off in these team fights. You talked about it a little bit during the draft. They enabled the team fights. They were able to chase them down, and they did see results, but it wasn't enough to close out the game.
That's because you have to look past just win lane, win game. I know that's been Invictus Gaming's strategy, and yes, Raz is correct that in some of these team fights, IG also just weren't prepared enough. Like you can see where Gnar is positioned on the map right now when they just get flanked. But ultimately, the 5v5 ability of RNG's composition to have access to the backline by using the displacement pillar, proccing the plasma, and getting Uzi to just dive into the backline with Kai'Sa is so cool and so effective.
It's definitely cool. One thing IG realized, and they really slowed the pace when they were going towards the bottom lane play at the very end, was the fact that whenever Gnar was going top lane and was starting to get a deeper push, he realized Kai'Sa was there, was going to be able to cut their top lane push. And of course, you already saw, that was one of 2 mid lane catches on Jackie Love and Baolan, where they were starting to get the push mid lane, and they immediately get cut off because their laners, Invictus Gaming, are trying to get a 1-3-1 setup, at the very least a 1-4. So they're just unprepared ultimately, and realizing that they actually just had to play it incredibly slow and wait for the waves. They finally did it. That wasn't why they won the game, because that was a hectic ending, but that's how it happened.
So speaking of that ending, we've actually got that for you right now to sort of demonstrate how chaotic and how close it was. Jackie Love standing his ground when his team is dying around him, when 5 members of RNG are pushing down, and then Ning cuts the minion wave.
Yeah, and that's the big thing for me, is denying those creeps, because that's what slows down RNG. What, 60% tower fortification when you don't have the creeps available for them, which means that they're taking so much more damage, they can't end the game, they're racing against the opposing minions, and then it allows JackeyLove and Balan to have their hero moment.
They finally had that one minion. I don't know if it was no, actually just wasn't close enough to get the minion.
Yeah, it's really rough to watch, like Ning, the hero.
Yeah, it was very sad, but you mentioned it. Ning comes in, incredible to give JackeyLove the space necessary to walk up, and that was the major deciding point in allowing Duke back into this one.
And of course, that's the calm under pressure that they needed to win that game. Ning not engaging with RNG, flashing in for the cast to separate his team and allowing Uzi to get picked off. He takes our MVP at 4-1-11 with that KDA.
And Ning was all over the map. MLXG was pretty much relegated to his own jungle, did get some good plays going early on with the initial gank bottom, but Ning was alive in MLXG jungle, constantly tracking him, finding these good opportunities, and then cutting the minion wave to really be the hero when it counted.
And I know we touched on the early game and the drafting specifically, but one thing that is great for Invictus Gaming's strategy and how they utilize Taliyah is Gragas Taliyah, get the combination going.
The CC chain.
Of course, CC into the flick, so there is a lot of kill pressure onto Vladimir, which is why he was playing pretty passively early on.
And then likewise, it was the fact that Gragas went for the AP. Gragas not giving over any of those tank stats to the Trundle, so recognizing what the matchup was going to be and having the answer. And people have said that Gragas is just the worst Sejuani. In fact, that was me. Taking another look at Gragas. People have said it. I actually really like Gragas now, just because, again, his penetration into team fights. When you throw a Sejuani ultimate, you basically hit the front line and then you try to roll over front to back. With Gragas, you deny dive potential on your own team, and you can penetrate into back lines and separate everything. Just a lot more versatility there, as well as the CC lock.
Yeah, and it worked out for them in that game one. That said, we're going to go ahead and take a quick minute and a half break while we get ready for that game number 2. Don't go anywhere. The LPL is going to be right back with more base race in action.